And last but definitely not least, Cross Lauderdale, who earned his Eagle in May of 2021 at the same time that Jack did. Cross has also kind of run the gamut as far as leadership positions. He has served as a patrol leader. He's served as an assistant senior patrol leader, a senior patrol leader before Jack, and just recently a term as junior assistant scoutmaster. So Cross Lauderdale has had a number of leadership positions. For his project, it was also a very unique project. He did a rain berm and installed some rain barrels down at the Farmville Community Garden. These rain barrels were installed directly behind the shed that Arch put there with his project. They collect rain runoff that can be used to water the garden. Lots of soil was brought in to kind of build up around the perimeter of the garden, and then some mulch and different kinds of flowers and plants were planted on top of that. So it was kind of a beautification project, but also a conservation project. If you haven't had the opportunity, I would encourage you to go by the community garden and check out some of the projects that have been done there by these scouts. Cross, if you would please escort your parents to the front. Cross, in recognition of all your parents have done for you, I'm giving you this mother's pen to present to your mother. Cross, if you give this to your father. See you then around the clock. Cross has 3 mental pins he would like to give out. I'm going to put these right here for you, Cross. Here's the first.
For my first mentor pin, this is someone that has been there for me all the way through my start as a Tiger and Cub Scouts. And he's still with me now today, and he has really formed me into the person I am today and a leader. Mr. Mark Planning. For my second mentor pin is going to my Scoutmaster, Mr. James Walker. He's been my scout master for most of the years I've been in the troop. Whenever I needed him or called upon him, he was always there to help, and he's just done a great job leading us in this troop. For my last pen, this is going out to someone who, even though he wasn't my private coach like Mr. Mark, he was always there whenever I needed him at the community garden. He's been a huge help to the community garden in every way possible. That's Mr. Bob Adams. As you all know, we are gathered here today in celebration of Arch Flanagan, Jack Flanagan, and Jamie Swafford and my own Cross Lauderdale's Eagle Scout ceremony. First off, I would like to thank you all for coming out today for this truly special event. Achieving the rank of Eagle Scout is an achievement that I and many other Scouts have thought of as a lifetime goal or dream. It is an achievement that takes many years of hard work. For many of us, this journey starts in Cub Scouts. At a very young age, all Eagle Scouts have worked hard to get this moment in time, from the time they have joined Scouts till now. All together, me, Arch, Jack, and Jamie have collected and put in, I would say, around 500 hours of overall work through these projects, and through the help of other Scouts, adult leaders, family members, and friends. To create projects that benefit the people around them and the people in the community. Receiving this rank today makes me think of all that Scouts has done and provided for me. It provided me with friendship, leadership skills, survival skills, and even in some case, I think family as well. Throughout your whole life, you will remember the law, the oath, and all Scouts has taught you. It is something that can really help you succeed in your day-to-day tasks no matter what. So getting to the top of that scouting trail feels good and makes you feel confident about what you will be able to do in the future from now. So with that being said, just remember how big of an achievement this really is, and be happy to be here today to see what the community has formed. A group of leaders ready to go out into the world today and accomplish their goals. Lastly, I would just like to congratulate all the Eagle Scouts here today for your achievement, and as well congratulate all the people that have helped form these Scouts into the people they are. Thank you.
So at this time, if we're looking at the program, it says reflections, and I realize we're running a little long, so I'm still going to do it, but I'm going to give you the abbreviated version. I feel like I have to say something about each one of these guys, or we wouldn't have been doing a proper job here today. So I'm just going to give you the shortened version, but something that I'll remember about each one of these guys, because I have spent a lot of time with them over the last several years. Starting with Arch, something that I've learned about Arch is that he doesn't mind being a leader. Arch doesn't mind telling other people what to do, but Arch isn't usually the one, he's not usually the one that does the dirty work. Arch, he doesn't know that I know this, but I know this. He made a very strategic decision, I believe, when he chose Dustin to be his assistant senior patrol leader, because Dustin doesn't mind doing the dirty work. So Arch, he would lead, he would, if it's not something he wanted to do, he would tell Dustin, and Dustin had no problem getting in front of the guys, and they would do what Dustin said to do. So he would kind of lead that way, but it turned out to be very effective. Arch knew exactly what he was doing. They also, well, I won't get into the Supreme Leader Tate thing. I'll leave that alone. One thing I will say about Arch, though, in his time, I'm going to brag on him a little bit. In his time as senior patrol leader, we went to a camporee, and this is something it'll be a highlight for me as I look back on my term as scoutmaster. We went to a camporee in the spring of 2019. We took 4 patrols to that camporee. All 4 of those patrols came back with blue ribbons, but not only that, our lowest scoring patrol had scored higher than any other patrol in the entire district. And Arch gets a lot of credit for that, for being our senior patrol leader. So, good on you, Arch. Something else I'll remember about him, we all know he's very intelligent, but when you tell Arch something, I always got the feeling that he was kind of studying you a little bit, and he was kind of sizing up what you had to say. But he is very capable. He's a very able teacher. He was a counselor, actually, over at Camp Body, where he taught pioneering. He knows virtually every knot there is. I'm sure he knows more knots than I do. When we did the 90th anniversary, he was instrumental in building that monkey bridge. He put his engineering skills to work. So those are just a few things I'll remember. And fondue. I will fondly remember the fondue. So thank you, Arch. With Jamie, I really struggle with what can I say about Jamie, being my own son. When I told Jamie, this was summer of 2016, I told him, I'm going to be your scoutmaster. His first reaction was, yes. That changed pretty quick. It didn't take too long for him to realize that meant you were going to everything, every service project, everything, you were going to it. And so Jamie has got a pretty good track record of showing up for Eagle service projects, I'd say. But I'm actually grateful for that, because through this, Jamie has had an opportunity to learn what it means to serve others. One thing I'll remember, I'll tell you when I realized that he was getting grown and that he probably didn't need me anymore, was a backpacking trip with Jamie and with Tate. It was just the 3 of us. We went out to Uwharrie. And the 3 of us were just kind of a weekend getaway. We were backpacking. Well, Jamie and Tate, they were gone. And after a little while, Jamie rolls back and he says, "You all right, Dad?" And I realized, okay, he's grown. Jack, what can I say about Jack? I could say a lot of things about Jack. Thank you for bringing up the grease fire, Jack. I appreciate that. Jack has been a phenomenal leader. I'm going to give you one very quick. I have to share this one very quick one with Jack. And at 90th anniversary, we kind of framed it up what it was going to look like, some of the different areas. But this is scout-led troop, right? So kind of gave it to the guys and said, all right, here's your area. Here's some of the parameters. You figure it out. Well, Jack was with a group that was with the first aid. So I said, come, give me a concept, a skit, whatever you want to do. They come back with this thing called the Wheel of Misfortune. And the Wheel of Misfortune was this thing that you spun, and it had different, ailments or calamities on it. And things like, is that bone supposed to be there? Or, hey, Mr. Scott, Sammy says my back doesn't look right. And then you'd spin it, and then they would go on and show you what the first aid was for that. But what I'll remember about Jack is he is never at a loss for words. And I mean never, ever at a loss for words. But he always made me laugh, and he always got the job done. A very, very capable leader, and probably not as good at steal the bacon as he thinks he is, but a great senior patrol leader. Cross. What could I say about Cross? Cross. I'll give you the shortened version. You can ask me for the longer version later. But a short story with Cross. We were at a camping trip at this place called O'Brien's Pond in Snow Hill. And some of the tents on that trip, it couldn't be avoided. Some of them were kind of exposed to the wind. It's just the way the place was set up. You couldn't really get the tent in the trees the way you wanted to. So some of them were kind of exposed to the wind, mine being one of them. So I decided I'm going to pull my truck and the trailer up in front of these tents, and we're going to kind of shield it from the wind. Well, that was the first time I heard of this thing called the shadow government. And I never quite got to the bottom of what the shadow government was, but I know that Cross was a central figure. But anytime I ask, well, what is that? You don't talk about it. You don't talk about the shadow government. But in all seriousness, Cross is really the complete package. He's a great cook, for one thing. The guys pointed out yesterday, a lot of our pictures of him, he was cooking. But he's just an all-around great scout. He was a great patrol leader. One of those blue ribbons I talked about at that campery back in 2019 was Cross's patrol. He's always looked after his guys. That's something I've noticed about Cross, is the guys that he was charged with taking care of, he took care of them. Cross always looked out for him. He was a great ambassador for the Order of the Arrow. He represented the troop well in the Order of the Arrow. And another thing I'll give you about Cross is during our 90th anniversary, well, Cross was the senior patrol leader, so I told him, you're going to have a speaking role at this 90th anniversary. And he was a little bit taken back at first, but he stepped right up to the plate, and he did a great job. One other thing about Cross. During my time as Scoutmaster, we've always had this mantra of Scout-led troop. That's just something that we do. We have done that. This troop has always done that, Scout-led troop. Now, if I'm honest, it took me a while to get more and more and more comfortable with that idea. Cross is the first senior patrol leader where I finally got to the point where I am 100% hands off on the programs every week. I finally got to a point where I could let that go. The guys would come and they would do their green bar meetings and they would plan out their meetings, and I didn't think about it again after that. He made sure every time we got to the scout hut, there was a program. And a lot of times, he was the one leading that program. So, great scout. Cross, thank you for all your leadership over all these years. Okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before I go into the closing here? Okay. Well, in just a moment, I'm going to ask Pastor Rocky to come up. But before we do that, I want to give these scouts my own charge, if I can. And what I would say to you guys is, first of all, it has been an honor and a privilege to be your scoutmaster. It truly has. And when I think back at my time in scouting, I will always think well of all of you. My hope and prayer for all of you is that as you get to a point in life and you start going your separate ways, that you will maintain your friendships, that you will stay in touch with each other, that this bond that you have in scouting will be one that would last your entire life. Take these values that you have learned, not just in scouting, but from your family and from your churches and from the community and everybody else. Take these values that you have learned and earnestly seek God's will in your life. Figure out what is it that the Lord
put me here to do? What am I supposed to do with my time, talent, abilities? Every single one of you is equipped. You're equipped differently, you're all differently, but you're all equipped. You're all capable of going out in the world and making a difference. And so my charge to you is to find a way to use what you've learned and go out and make a difference in somebody's life in a positive way that would honor God. With that, I'll ask Pastor Rocky Stone if you'd come forward. After Pastor Rocky gives the benediction, we're not quite finished, so please remain in your seats, because after the benediction, our acting senior patrol leader, Sam Flanagan, is going to come forward, and we're going to retire the colors. And after the colors are retired, then we'll have a reception. Okay, Pastor Rocky.
As you go forth today, I remind you that you go nowhere by accident. Wherever you are, God has placed you there. Wherever you will go, God is sending you there. Remember, as you go forth, God is with you. He dwells within you, and he desires to work through you. Believe this and go in God's love, grace, and power.
Please stand for the retiring of the colors. Color guard, retrieve the colors. Color guard, retreat. This concludes our court of honor. Thank you all for coming.